Greetings to all members of my community, greetings to my subscribers, and greetings to everyone. Today's animal belongs to a very interesting genus. You could say it's a cat, but in fact it is not. Or you could say it's a civet, but in fact it's not that simple, because it does not belong to the civet family. The fossa, with the scientific name of Cryptoprocta ferox, belongs to the family of eupleurids, or in other name Malagasy carnivorans, and is the only living species of its genus Cryptoprocta, and it is Madagascar's largest carnivore. The other member of this genus was the recently extinct giant fossa. It's interesting that within the suborder of feriforms, the civets of Madagascar form a separated civet family, and this family includes 7 genera and 9 living species. Genetic studies show that this family is of monophyletic descent, meaning that all species can be traced back to a single ancestor. The fossa's closest relative is the Malagasy civet, also known as the Phanaloca, but its relationship with Madagascar's second largest predator, the eastern Phalanook, is not yet clear. That meaning the living closest relative, as the possibly closest was the giant fossa in Madagascar, but that may have already come to extinction before the 14th century. Madagascar began to be populated approximately 1,500 years ago, sometimes in the middle of the first millennium. The Malays arrived here from Borneo in Indonesia, and the Bantu peoples from the African continent. The population formed from these is called Malagasy. As the fossa's family name indicates, these animals are all native to Madagascar. The fossa can be found up to an altitude of 2,000 meters. The length of the female is 65-70 centimeters, while the length of the male is 75-80 centimeters, and their tail doubles that length as an addition. It can be between 70 and 90 centimeters. Females grow to the weight between 5 and 7 kilograms, while males to between 6 and 10 kilograms. Individuals are smaller in the north and east of the island, while larger in the west and south. Their appearance is a transition between cats and civets. Since they are very similar to cats, the fossas were initially classified as felids, but based on later studies, they were reclassified as civets, and after the possibility of mapping the genes became available, they were transferred to a newly created Malagasy civets family. The species is very widespread, except in the central highlands of Madagascar, but the population density is generally low. It is found exclusively in forested habitats and actively hunts both during the day and the night. Among the Madagascar carnivores, the fossa has the largest geographical distribution area. It can be found in all types of forests, but understandably prefers intact forests, and is more common in wet than dry woodlands. It has an excellent sense of smell, vision and hearing. It is a robust animal, and disease is rare among individuals living in captivity. Its body is slender and muscular, like a miniature version of a cougar, but its head is mongoose-like, longer than a cat's with rounded ears. Its uniform reddish fur is short, straight, relatively dense, darker on its back than on its belly, and its legs are short, only 15 centimeters. Many of its physical characteristics show that it is adapted for climbing trees, where it balances with its long tail, and its claws are semi-retractable. The soles of its paws are mostly hairless and padded. Its ankles are flexible, and it climbs headfirst up and down on trees, and easily jumps between them. And captive juveniles were even observed to swing upside down by their hind feet. It is a territorial animal. It marks its territory with a secretion of its scent glands. It has several of them. The size of its territory depends on the availability of food. It is one of the 8 endemic carnivores of Madagascar. Actually, 90% of Madagascar's animal species are endemic, meaning they are only found in Madagascar. More than 50% of the fossa's diet consists of lemurs, native primates found on the island. But insectivores, rodents, lizards, birds and other animals are also on its menu. In Madagascar, it is the only species that can catch any species of lemur, even those weighing up to 90% of the fossa's weight. There are areas where fossas specialize on lemurs, and there are areas where their food source is more varied. A special feature of the fossas are the reproductive organs, which is a large mixture of those of cats, civets and hyenas. All I'm saying is that both sexes have spiky reproductive organs similar to those of hyenas, and I won't go into detail. I'll leave it to everyone to look it up if they are curious. Overall, the fossa has the characteristics of 3 other carnivore families, at least partially. It is similar to the mongoose family, the feline family and the civet family, which is why scientists classify it as a separate family among the 3. It is a solitary animal that is active both during the day and at night, with peaks of activity in the early morning, late afternoon and late evening. It usually does not sleep twice in the same place, except for females raising cubs, who return to the same den during the rearing period. In the observed areas, the territory of a male fossa was roughly 26 square kilometers, while that of the females was half, only 13 square kilometers. There was also an overlap between the territories of the males. The females do not share theirs, and during the dry season the areas increase a bit. In these areas they usually move between 2 and 5 kilometers in a day, but there was also a fossa with a radio collar that covered the route of 7 kilometers in a straight line in 16 hours. Animal density varies from area to area. For example, in the Kirindi forest on the west side of the island, a fossa's territory is around 3.6 to 4 square kilometers. Compared to the fact that it is usually a solitary animal, in 2009 3 fossas were observed hunting together a sifaka, a lemur type, for 45 minutes, and at the end they also divided the prey. Their communication consists of sounds and visual signals. Sounds include purrs, threatening and fear cries. They call each other with long, high-pitched cries. The females are meowing during mating and the males sighing when they find a female. The meaning of their facial and body expressions has not yet been deciphered. The mating period is mostly between September and October, but sometimes it can also happen in December. In this case, the female chooses a tree for herself, then she calls the males for a week with her loud cry. I mean, she literally cries for a male. When hearing this cry, the chivalrous males gather, interestingly 8 in numbers, then compete with each other. It can be a kind of nightly tournament, and then the female gives herself, mostly to several of them. The acrobatics of mating usually takes place on a thicker branch, but mating on the ground is not excluded either. Gestation lasts for about 90 days, after which the female gives birth to between 2 and 4 cubs, each weighing roughly 100 grams. The offspring are born blind, and their eyes open only after the 15th day, and they stay with their mother until they are 15-20 months old, but they do not reach their adult size until they are 4 years old. They can live up to 20 years in captivity. According to the estimates of the IUCN, around 2,500 fossas are living in the wild, and because of this its conservation status is vulnerable. Since it also preys on domestic animals, it is hunted, but at the same time the destruction of its habitats also reduces its numbers. As Madagascar's apex predator, it plays an important role in regulating the population of many species. There are approximately 100 individuals in zoos worldwide, in 33 zoos, of which approximately 60 individuals are in Europe, and the breeding program is complicated by the fact that most individuals in captivity come from a small number of individuals, so the chance of inbreeding is high. It is also difficult to keep them, and in zoos strictly only one individual can be kept in an enclosure, as it is also dangerous to its own kind. However, in Planet Zoo there can be two due to the possibility of mating. If you visit Hungary, you can see fossa in the Szeged Wildlife Park, where in the long term they want to breed this Madagascar's largest predator. That's it for today's animal. I hope you liked the video. If yes, press the like button and share it with others. If you would like to use this habitat, I've uploaded the blueprint to my Steam workshop. Feel free to download and use. The glass dome was created originally for bonobos with walkthrough, but I reused and extended it to place close the lemurs and the fossas, as they would be in their home range. No lemurs were harmed in the process. You can join my Discord and you can consider to join my community for a small fee, where you can see videos specifically for members. You can find the links in the description to both. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely day.